While Touhou LostWord's main story has a strong ongoing narrative to build off of, and defies the normal trappings of Touhou fangame plots, the events instead feel much more in line with how stories tend to go in other Touhou fangames. The event stories take place in the main Gensokyo, there's some antics between characters, yada yada yada. The main event... well, I'll get to that in another video, but let's just say I wasn't impressed. Reisen's mock battle, though? That was actually alright. The story starts with Reisen doing her job as usual, with the Avatar happening to be there just to buy medicine. Reisen rants about her job, which seems pretty standard until... oh, it's Seiran and Ringo. A lot of Touhou fanworks don't tend to bring characters from games past 12, so it's nice to see some representation from later games. They're both trying to sell Moondongo, but need a place to sell it. So, in comes Nitori. She's made some airsoft guns and wants to test them out. She proposes a battle between the rabbits and the Kappa in order to advertise her guns and sell them, and then Seiran and Ringo can also sell Dongo at the festival. To win, either all teammates on one side have to be defeated, or another team's flag has to be captured. And... since Reisen's Reisen, she gets roped into being the leader for Team Rabbit, a team that is only herself and the Avatar. Meanwhile, Team Kappa is all Kappa. Nitori's pretty crafty here, which is a good thing. Post Touhou 13, Nitori's been pretty shrewd when it comes to making a profit, so it's nice to see that side of herself represented here. When the actual competition starts, Nitori brings in two people to help Reisen and the Avatar, and they are... Medicine and Byakuren? An odd duo for sure, but okay. Team Rabbit also all gets costumes for the event. Reisen and Medicine look pretty cool. Byakuren... eh? Well, I'd rather not have fan service in Touhou fanworks. Byakuren is one of the few instances in the mainline series where fan service has actually happened, at least of this nature. While the ultimate solution is not having it at all, at the very least, it feels in character. The first half of this story is a bit repetitive. It generally consists of Reisen talking about a plan/strategy, something going awry, and then a fight to fix whatever went wrong. It's generic. There are some cool moments, like Medicine talking to Alice about dolls. The group gradually gets to know each other, which is nice. These characters don't really interact that much in the mainline games, so having them become friends is neat. Reisen leading her team with some tactics that bends the rules also gives her characters some nice agency. But overall, this first half is pretty dull. Thankfully though, the second half starts to pick up a bit with the story. The Airsoft game has moved into the Bamboo Forest of the Lost, which is where Reisen hid the flag. This is Reisen's home turf, so it really does start to feel like her own story, unlike Iyomu's maid training. In the forest, the group runs into a training session between Kasen and Reimu. Reimu doesn't want to train because, well, she's Reimu, but Kasen keeps pushing her. Team Rabbit battles them because of training or something, and... oh, we get a nice conversation between Kasen and Reimu. Kasen feels bad for overworking Reimu, but Reimu insists they keep training because she knows Kasen means well and that she's also been slacking off with her training. It's not the first time LostWord has played into their motherly bond, and I always like when this happens. But past that, we get to the conclusion of the story. Throughout the competition, a mysterious rabbit has been going around disrupting the group. Since Teruo appears early on in the plot, it's natural to assume this rabbit is her. But it actually ends up being... the other Reisen? Okay, that's actually pretty awesome. I doubt you see her that much in many other fanworks. Mitori reveals that she's made a deal with the Moon People and has them fighting for Team Kappa. Reisen's team's final obstacle ends up being the Watatsuki sisters? From the manga? Wow. With both Reisens, the Watatsukis, Seiran, and Ringo, all eras of the moon end up getting represented in this story. It feels pretty cool and momentous, even if it's just an Airsoft contest. Reisen realizes that she and her team can't defeat the Watatsukis directly in combat, which... yeah, she's probably right. But there's still one more way to win. Capturing the flag. And... Byakuren and Medicine both have her back. Reisen's surprised at first, but appreciates her newfound friends. After an in-game battle with the Watatsukis, we get a surprisingly fluid scene of Reisen and her team trying to catch the flag, with different players moving around the battlefield. And they keep moving and moving until... they get it! Reisen and her team end up winning the match thanks to great synergy. And when Reisen goes to I-5 Byakuren after their journey together, it feels good. There's an epilogue with Eren where she congratulates Reisen for winning and also talks to the Moon Sisters. She also thanks Byakuren for watching over Reisen, which, okay, that does feel like a reason why someone as powerful as Byakuren would join an Airsoft contest. I like that. And so we leave it at that. Huh? This also stopped a war between Rabbids and Kappa, even though this wasn't alluded to at all before. I think the narrative here is reaching a bit too far. Despite this stumble at the very end though, yeah, that was a pretty good story. While Yomu's maid training focused a lot on interactions we've already seen to death in Touhou fanworks, the unique trio in Reisen's mock battle led to a much more dynamic group of characters. The tactics involved with the actual battles were pretty fun, and the characters met along the way lending themselves to some decent interaction. But I feel like the story really excels at the end. Bringing in so much of the moon from Touhou to the point that the other Reisen is there is super cool, and as I said earlier, really does make this feel like a Reisen story. She leaves the story with leadership experience and some cool new friends. Compared to the static characters in Yomu's maid training, this feels much better. I'm glad the event was a substantial improvement from the one that came before it, and I hope that the next one is even better.